Hey, it's me, PK King, and these 4 PNGs on a slow shake cycle are pissing me off. As you can see, I haven't been very happy with the quality of this channel, and my first thought was updating this to be a VTuber. It's not like there are many VTubers that focus on videos instead of streaming or so- Oh, damn. Everyone had the same idea. The more the merrier. Originally, it was just gonna be me, but that's kind of lame. I mean, look, we have like half animal, magic, or whatever the hell's happening. I need to spice this up a little bit. So instead of actually working on the VTuber itself, I made pages and pages of lore, like a lot, like about gods and shit. Like, it's actually pretty cool. Okay, I made all of that August 27th, 2021. Okay, it's 2022 now, kind of awkward. Anyway, the character's more or less me, but with a few base me, right? Beanie with bi-pin, black hair, usually dyed, I usually make it pink, glasses, earrings, blah, 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 blah. Then we gotta stretch the truth a little bit. I make the earrings, some cool versions on my logo, even though I'm still on starter earrings. I have the jacket that I have IRL, but I just made it kind of cuter. I have a necklace that my boyfriend made me and I love a lot. I made my eyes a little lighter. Okay, good. We're missing something random though. Boom! Bottle arms. I'm only gonna do the top half, at least for now. This is my first time doing this, so I don't want to overwhelm myself. Okay, next I'll explain the bottle arms. PK King 544 is part of a race of bottles or part bottle people that were artificially created by the gods themselves, so I guess it's not really artificial if it was by the gods. You see, there are some aspects of life so innate that even gods can't surpass them, and that includes basic emotion. So because gods have way more important things to do than deal with emotion, they made these bottles. Each of them are born with an assigned emotion that flows through them like blood. In the case where gods let their emotions get the best of them, the bottle would be able to store that extra emotion in their, well, bottles. For example, let's say there's a god with anger issues, right? They need to control them in order to confront someone or to do something important. So they'll hire a couple anger bottles to store that anger for them. Of course, compared to the gods, bottles are quite small. They're normally worn as jewelry, but not in like a weird, painful way, in like a nice way. Cause like where else would they be? In their pockets or something? No. Some bottles are rarer than other ones. At some point, it becomes more of an accessory to wear them like a flex, even if they don't actually need them. And then, okay, trust me, I wrote a lot. But I can't spill the beans about the entire universe because they're literally gods and they might be listening. Okay, time for... There's a lot of ideas that I had, but I just didn't know how the program actually works, so I decided the first thing to do would just be to download the software and mess around for a bit. I'm using Live 2D for all of this, and after doing this all, I highly recommend it. There's a ton of tutorials online. I really just watched a lot of tutorials and a lot of time lapses of other people ringing. Those are gonna get you way further. This is not a tutorial if you thought this was, so go watch those instead. Then I decided to focus on drawing my persona a little bit more, just to get the feel for him, you know? As you can see, his design kind of fluctuates in between all of these because I was still kind of filling out exactly how I wanted him to look. Okay, time to actually do this. I turned on the symmetry tool and just started sketching for a bit. I like this one and I started drawing over it. I used Procreate. You can use literally anything that exports to PSD, but I love Procreate. So I started doing over this sketch and I started with the foreground and working my way back because that was just kind of easier. And I did not merge like anything. I didn't merge anything together until I was 100% confident I should. So I started like every new line on a different layer. Most people recommend 2224 by the same thing with 300 DPI for your canvas size. So that's what I did. I would make it bigger, but I'm only doing the top half of this. And with these settings, I'm only getting 104 layers and I wasn't sure if that was enough. So I was just gonna do this. That's how I did it. Something that I do really want to stress is that my art style is a lot more cartoony than a lot of these anime girls, which made for some... Thicker line art makes a lot of movement ugly. There aren't many 2D VTubers with beanies, so figuring out how to separate them was annoying. Similar thing with the glasses, so I ended up making a frame and the glasses as 2 parts, and then having more parts for the legs that would stretch when I ring it. All these women have a hair blocking their faces, so I had no reference for ears. Like, Also, a lot of the shading is really annoying. If you shade too much, then it overlaps and it looks weird, and when it moves and all that stuff. Like here on the face, only the outer part of the face is lightly shaded, and then there's a light on on the nose bridge. Even the little lights on the lips caused me some troubles later, even though it fades out before it blends back into the face color seamlessly here. When you move it around later, it just, Another issue I had was the left and right layers. So obviously the face, it's just a face, it's the whole thing. But for stuff like the eyes, I need a left and right layer separated. And because I use a symmetry tool for so much of this, I didn't realize that till the end. So I had to go back and like copy and paste it and delete it from each layer. It didn't take a long time, but I thought I'd mention it. Then after it was basically all done, I added some emotions and even some like hand poses that I don't think I'm really gonna be able to use on stream too much, but I'll use in videos because this is mainly what this is for. Anyways, if you're really interested in this whole process, I'll put all the PSDs on my Patreon if you want to see exactly how I did it. Let me put a speed art there if you'd like to, just let me know. Link in description. Make sure, at least in Procreate, that everything is already in folders before you export it. It doesn't need to be in layer order, just keep it in folders organized, just trust me. I couldn't figure out how to do the folders on here till way later and I feel dumb, but it's way easier if you just do it on your application. It doesn't matter what order you put it in here because this little white bar is everything. This is the layers. So you can click your image and override like what layer it is by changing this number on this slider. So this is how you organize the layers while still having the pictures in their own organized folders. It's honestly a really smart system. It just gets really confusing towards the end and I ended up making it super messy anyway. So if you're looking at mine for reference, it's not gonna stay clean. It's not gonna stay clean. I realized also I didn't draw eyebrows, which is like, what? That's like basic, so I had to go ahead and do that. It was easy. I just exported them all by themselves, like as their own layer in their own PSD file, and tossed them back here and added it to the whole thing. It's super easy to replace and add more layers if you need to. I also had to do this for some other stuff, like the back part of the jacket. I realized I didn't have the little like puff part up here, and also eyelids. I did not think about that. You don't really need eyelids, but I found it a lot easier to work with, so I do recommend having eyelids. Oh, and the eye blinking here is probably the best example of what I said earlier. I should have made the line art smaller because now it looks kind of chunky here. I was also kind of annoyed at first because it felt like me moving all of these things weren't working, it wasn't doing anything, but then I found out that you gotta select them all and make them meshes. Also remember, if you add anything later to make those things meshes, or they won't appear when you export it to the actual like the actual software where you actually are VTubing. Also, when it comes to actually moving the images around, there are a lot of different ways you can do it actually. At first, I just used deformers because I didn't realize there were other things, and deformers work great, they work fine, but for some other things, there are these little lines, like for the eyebrows, you can use these little lines, and for certain things like these work a lot better. I would, again, just play around with it and see what these all do. Oh, and also for the texture atlas, you will also want to organize it and make sure you update it. Also up here, make sure the quality is good and wait, what am I doing? This is not a tutorial. No, I'm not gonna explain everything. Do you want actual help? Go to these videos right here. Go to any one of these. This is more of a walkthrough. I'm doing this and you're watching me, okay? Don't be following me if you really don't know what you're doing. This should be the last step. You should be laughing at me. You should already know what to do, and you're laughing at me because I'm dumb. So don't use this as a tutorial, please. I like making these videos so you can watch them and get a realistic point of view on how the whole process is and see if it's something that you could feasibly do. And honestly, in my opinion, if you're thinking this much about it to watch this video, I'd say go for it. At least compared to my pit crew video, this is so much easier and way less tedious, and it's sort of relaxing, honestly. It's not super hard, you only do as much as you really want to do. The hardest thing is about learning the application, and I already feel like I'm a pro after making the one I have right now. Not to mention how much I plan on getting use out of this. This is going to be used in like all my videos and all my streams, so I will get my mileage. If you think you're going to actually use your model that you make, go right ahead. It's not the end, it's not that hard. Make it. I mean, it's hard, don't get me wrong. These people put in a lot of effort and a lot of time. But if you have the time and you will actually use this model, go for it. So, there's a lot of things, honestly, I want to do for this debut. It's sort of a channel refresh for me. So, boom, new profile picture and banner. I think the VTuber design itself takes priority canonically if you're worried about some of the little differences between each of these drawings. But I really do think that the VTuber actual model is like the 100%, like, that's the main one. I'm also going to be streaming on Twitch, so I started like a starting soon screen and an ending screen from this promotional drawing I made. I even use this as my wallpaper because I made it on Wallpaper Engine, and it was so cool. It was honestly so easy to make on Wallpaper Engine, but you can't export it. So I just opened it as a window, and I screen recorded it for a while, and that's how I got this to work. I also use this on my about page on my Twitch for all these little panel stuff as well. Okay, rigging done. Now this isn't the best. This is not the best, and I will show you all my unorganized folders just in case you can, you know, if you want this for reference at least a little bit, even if it's not the most organized, beautiful thing. I did not plan on it looking like this at the end. It just kind of happened. It's pretty overwhelming. I can understand it because, you know, I did it. But in my opinion, the best thing you could do to help yourself is to start. Just start doing it and you'll figure it out and you'll learn how to organize it better and blah, blah, blah. You're not going to be able to organize it perfectly in the first run unless you're just built different. I don't know. I didn't put them in till a little later, but you also have to put all the emotions in here. How you do that is these little sliders, you set the default to 0, so it's always off. And then when you want it on, it slides up to 100%. And I guess I didn't really talk about how this stuff works. Again, not a tutorial, but I felt obligated to go over it a little bit. So the short thing of how this works is these are basically keyframes if you ever animated. You click whatever mesh you want to do, you put your keyframe for where it's at the lowest percent and when it's at the highest percent, and you just put the things there at the keyframes and it does everything in between. It's honestly not too complicated. You just need to know exactly what thing you're moving where. Some things are more physics based, so you put like the min and the max. That's the short of how this works. Anyway, now you have to export it all to... Now, the thing is, once you're here, from what I understand, you can't go back. So if you want to change anything, you gotta do whatever you do here all over again. Like, for example, I accidentally exported my VTuber with a lower quality. I didn't realize that till after I keyed all the emotions and tweaked the sensitivities. So I had to go back and change all that and then update it here, and it was just a hassle. Also, I can't really record on the VTuber Studio because of camera issues. It won't let me record my video because I'm also recording my face and it's using both. Anyway, who cares? It's done. But before I show you, there's one more thing I did do in preparation. So please sit back, relax, and watch this video. And here we go. Hi, this is how videos will be presented from now on. I'm back from my little break, and I made this model for YouTube first and Twitch second, but I will be hoping to stream at least once or twice a week, so please go follow. Oh, and if you have not seen the first stream that I did, because, you know, I don't blame you, the link's in the description, because I have a VOD channel now. And in that first stream, I went a little more in depth into the lore, so if you're interested in the lore, you'll probably want to check that out. Oh, and if you're wondering how I captured this character like actually on the streaming stuff to actually put in stream, all you really have to do is go to background 8 on VTube Studio. That's actually a green screen. So you just capture the screen and then you chroma key out the key color, position yourself, and there you go. There's other stuff I didn't quite mention, like if I do this, I have a little transition. I love it, I love it, I love it, to the starting screen that I talked about earlier. Let me go back to me though. But if you want to see all those little stuff that I didn't quite mention in this video, you're gonna have to just watch the streams, because I don't have all the time in the world. I'm not gonna tell you everything. Again, this is not a tutorial. But honestly, I love this character, but there's a lot of things I wish I knew. Like, there are so many ways you could do things like reflections and stuff that I didn't even think about, that I would have done on my glasses and stuff if I knew it wasn't even an option. Like, the closest thing I have to reflections is this, which is like the anime reflection, but it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So I mean, honestly, even though this was a lot of work, I might want to redo it sometime this year just to make it like better. Like, you know, just to add a bit more detail and things like that, because I love this, but I just feel so energized with the tools now that I know how to use. So I want to fucking use them. Well, I am excited. The future is looking great. Honestly, in my opinion, this is totally worth it. If my pick crew recommendation was like a 4 out of 10, and if my making like a rivals character recommendation was like a 7 or 8 out of 10, this is a 9 out of 10. This is a solid 9 out of 10, especially if you're gonna use it, which obviously I am. So please check out my Twitter, see when the next stream is gonna be. I'm usually playing whatever game is relevant for my next video, whatever relevant Nintendo game there is. I'm probably streaming rivals or maybe just drawing. But anyway, more regular uploads from here on out. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around. Yeah, and I'll see you next week, next month, next year, next century, next whoever the fuck. Anyway, I love you guys. Goodbye. Wait, let me see if I can wave. I know how to do this. Bye. Oh, fuck. That was a lot. Okay. Oh, that feels better. Oh my god, holding that in the whole time was too much. I can't do that. I can't keep doing that. Fucking hurts. But if I'm gonna keep streaming, I'll need to manage it somehow. Shit. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. A couple hours at a time. It's no big deal. Am I still recording?